golf team for the past 4 years for me, to get to see the work that they put in every single day. And last year was rewarded and kind of culminated that tongue twister there. And they got to win a championship. So it was nice to see. It's the first conference title in men's golf history here, and they've set the foundation for what the program is, what it's going to be, and I couldn't be more proud of them. I'm excited for them to get their rings today. So when I call your name, come up and I'll get you a ring. Nigel Reese. Trey Schneider. Seth McNeil. Robbie Evans. Eric Ham. Congrats, boys. Let's win another one this year.
Athletics representative, Dr. Tom Johnswitz, and our provost, Dr. Jonathan Sanford. I'd like to also make a special shout out to Anna Wilkenbush for a record-breaking cross-country season. For those of you that don't know, yesterday she won the Division III Regional Championship in Memphis, Tennessee, and she's undefeated this year, which is a rather unusual accomplishment. This is the 21st year we've inducted former UD athletes, coaches, and staff into the Hall of Fame. With this class, the number of those honored in the Hall is 77. The Athletics Hall of Fame is particularly important to me because it recognizes the personal sacrifices that these individuals have made to be successful and how difficult that can be for a student athlete or a coach in a rigorous academic environment such as here at the University of Dallas. The inductees today represent sports that have long been part of the UD athletics scene and one that has been gone from the athletic scene for a long time. We also have present today a number of current student athletes. I think it's important for these current athletes to be aware of the accomplishments of those that have gone before them, as these two groups represent our pride in the past and faith in the future. On to the inductions. First person being inducted is Faith Elkins. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the program, but Faith Elkins was a student athlete here at the University of Dallas in the 1920s. One of the things that I did when I first got to the University of Dallas was, I think I've read every issue of the University News and looked at every yearbook and tried to find out something about what went before us. And I found a number of interesting things. Faith Elkins is one of those things. Faith Elkins was a star athlete in 4 sports at the University of Dallas in the 1920s. Statistics and records from that era are sparse, but we do know that he scored 6 touchdowns on the 1925 football team that had a 7 wins, 2 loss, 1 tie record, and led the basketball team to a 10-7 record and baseball to a 19-6 record, while winning track meets single-handedly. The baseball and basketball team winning percentages lasted as school records until 2001. In 1927, he won the United States Amateur Athletic Union Decathlon Championship. He also went on to play 2 years in the National Football League. Sports Illustrated in the 1990s ran a series of articles on the greatest athletes of the 1920s. People like Babe Ruth, Red Grange, Babe Dietrich Zaharias, people like that. And Faith Elkins was one of those in the article. In the article, he was described as one of the greatest athletes ever in this country. I particularly want to make a comment that at the time that we hired Brian, was in the about 2000. About 2000. I was on a run then. I hired a number of really great coaches for a period of time. Brian was the best of them all. And one thing about Brian that always stood out to me was you knew where he stood. When I used to be in the military, the greatest compliment you could give or receive was to say that if I went into combat, I would like you next to me. And the reason for that is you're talking about the trust. When you can say that about somebody, it means you trust them. I can say that about Brian Stanfield. So, Brian?
Know how much to appreciate it until you have other experiences. So, suffice it to say, most of my experiences prior to Coach, I didn't have that. It was awesome. So, thank you. And it was him giving me the opportunity to come here and work. So, thank you very much. You'll hear a lot of that. You know, I did a little research trying to figure out what is Hall of Fame, what do you do, what do you say? And I think at different times, maybe for different people, it's an opportunity for a platform to voice where they are and where we are in our society. For me, for this, it's just to be thankful. I'm very appreciative of what the opportunity, again, that Coach gave me, and appreciative of this university and you guys. Okay, I know you guys don't know me from Adam, and I don't know you. About the biggest thing that I know right now is that we never had a golf team like that when I was a golf coach. In fact, I can say that probably two of the best golfers I had are sitting in this room because they're former basketball players that I used to tell them, no, you have to play. Okay, you have a bag, you have clubs, you have to play. Things have changed. Things are around here on the campus are incredible. Thank you to my family who's here, my mom and dad, my brother, my son. I have another son in the hallway over there, and my daughter right here. You know, mom and dad are, you know, they're the role models that I think we all envision our parents being, but mine are that. Time was, they gave up their time for us, and they're continuing to do so. You're always their kid, no matter how old you get. They were here last weekend. They came in for the weekend to help Aaliyah and I. We had to be away for work for a couple of days. They were here last weekend, 7 hours one way, and I tried to talk them out of the return trip, and there was nothing doing. So the greatest example of parents is just that. They gave us their time. And I think I can speak for my brother. He's sitting here, so you don't get a chance to speak though, brother. I left UD, and I wouldn't have done it for just anything or anyone. I left UD to go work for my brother in a business that he started. It was a point in time where I just wasn't sure what and where that I was going to be or doing, and if I was going to get out of coaching, I wasn't going to do it for just anybody. I did it with him, and it's been 10 years, 11 years, and it's been great.
Seems like 40.
It does. Nothing's like brotherly love. It never gets old. No, it's been tremendous, and I told Coach this morning. I said there's aspects that, you know, coming back that I miss, but again, I wouldn't have left it for just anything. Sutton, Sutton was raised here. He was, I don't know, 4, I guess, when I came in here as the coach, and he was raised here. He spent time in the gym. He spent time in everybody's offices. He spent time in the hallways. I mean, I like to think I'm a good parent, know where my kid is all the time, but there were a couple of times where I got nervous. He had gotten out of the building of mayor or gotten someplace. I wasn't sure where he was at, but that was the awesome thing about him growing up here is you guys that long ago, but people looked out, and one former player's girlfriend came up and said, "Hey, I'll watch him," and I was like, you know, I'm not going to do that to you because I know what a handful he is. And she says, "Oh, no. She said, I have a brother his age at home. I miss him. I want to watch him." And so that's just the kind of caring of the type of students in general that University of Dallas has. But Sutton spent a lot of time on the road with us, and the buses, on a plane every now and then. But these guys were awesome, and they were awesome role models, and you guys are awesome role models for the youths that get to come around here. So I hope you keep that in mind. Those guys were good about it. They had a Sutton switch when he was around. Whatever they were talking about or whatever they were doing, they kept it G-rated. And, you know, even occasionally on the bus, they would be like, "Coach, is Sutton coming?" I'm like, "No, he's not with us on this road trip." And they go, "Yes," because they knew they were going to get to watch a movie that was something other than Disney or what have you. So, but no, I'm glad Sutton could be here. My wife is here. There she is. I thought she was out with kids. Thank you, Hun, for coming. For those of you who don't know, Coach Strockbein is also a matchmaker. Aaliyah was a lacrosse coach the last 2 or 3 years that I was here. And how else is somebody from upstate New York going to get matched up with somebody out of Missouri? So nonetheless, we got married, and it's been the best, like it just happened yesterday, huh? The staff here is awesome. Coach was on a great run of the people, and I don't know the new staff, so no slight to anybody. In fact, I think Coach Hoffman's I know he's the only holdover. I ran into Coach Hoffman, we live out in the same area, ran into him Friday afternoon, and I don't know if he was playing hooky or what he was doing, but he acted like he didn't know me. And so it took me a little bit to get his attention and got to say hi to him. But the staff was awesome to work with, great people. A lot have gone and are still doing great things in the profession. There was one in particular, Coach Hill. He wasn't able to make it, but he was somebody I wanted to recognize in particular. As great a person, as great a coach as Coach Hill is, and he's the men's coach at Jesuit High School, he's an even better person, and he made me a better person. He never had a bad day. If he did, he left it at home and he didn't bring it to work with it. And he always found the sunny side of things, the glass half full approach in life. And when Coach Stanfield would have a tendency to start taking things, get a little full of himself or getting a little too serious about something, he had a knack for kind of getting me to break my mood, if you will, and smile a little bit. Little things from, he'd walk by and nudge me and say, "Coach, Sutton loves you." And be in the middle of practice, and practice wasn't going so well, so it was kind of jarring the first few times, but it always put a smile on my face. And very, very appreciative of his efforts and all the guys, because it can be a thankless job, and I call it their assistants by title, but we work together. And I not only listened, but I did hear them, and I just didn't always do what their suggestions were. Ultimately, I guess that falls on my shoulders, good, bad, or indifferent. So maybe I should have listened to them more, or heard them more, or implemented more. But anyway, quick funny story on Coach Hill is he's heard me say it now that I'm telling this room. I guess I can't tell it anymore, but we're on the road, typical non-conference schedule. Play who will play you when they want to play you. We're making a swing. We've got Trinity on a Saturday night. We have Southwestern on a Sunday afternoon. Saturday night did not end as well as we had expected or hoped, however you want to look at it. Bad coaching the last 2 minutes of the game. We end up with a disappointing loss. We spend the night. We get up the next day. The guys are in a funk, and I tell it's going to be it could be a long day. We're trying to do everything we can to get them to snap out of it. Nothing doing. We get in the game. I think we were down 30 shortly after tip-off, and it was just the way the day was going. We just wasn't going to happen. Coach Samples was there, and so he was not sitting on the other side, but it wasn't a good day. And halftime rolls by, and I just about burned every timeout we owned, trying to get them shook loose. We're down to 2 timeouts in the second half, and I called one. I was like, "All right, guys, Coach Hill, what are we going to do?" "I don't know. I'm out. I have no clue." I'm like, all right. So we go through that timeout. I send it back out. And I said, okay, before we get comfortable, I'm getting ready to go call another timeout. And he said, why? We might. I said, what? What are we saving it for? And he said, well, what are you going to do? I go, well, the only thing I know to do. So I call a timeout, and I get up, and I'm about 4 or 5 steps into half court. So suffice it to say, typical for coaches, things aren't going your way. You're chirping, you're beating on the refs all game, nothing, Those guys are at half court, and I'm walking to them. My goal is I'm headed to the locker room. I'm going to get the boot, and I'm going to the locker room. If anything, maybe it'll shake these guys loose, and they'll get to playing a little bit. I'm 4 or 5 steps into my stomp, and I hear this, oh no, you go, I go. And I turn around, it's Coach Hill, and he never has a straight face. He was straight as could be. He looked at me and he said, you're not leaving me with this. You go, I'm going too. I said, fair enough. I didn't get the boot. I finished the game. We took our medicine. We got out of there. So, Coach Hill, thank you, and appreciated all that help. Last but not least, it's the players. It's the players, and that's why we coach. Obviously, without you, we don't have a reason to be around and with that title. But it's more than that, and it's the relationships and the camaraderie. And even though it's a coach-player situation, as you're in it, as time develops and the guys start coming back, you understand what kind of influence you had, what kind of role you played while they were playing for you. Guys are coming to you as first time away from home. In some cases, certainly aren't used to having that much freedom and responsibility. As mom and dad dictating their schedule, and when they come here, you're that stand-in. We try. I always said we try not to screw up the good work that the parents already laid a foundation for. And over time, you understand that even more as guys start coming back. You get phone calls, you get texts of the families and what they're doing and where they're at. And it warms my heart just getting a text every now and then. The phone calls from this and the text from the recognition, and again it goes back to them and those relationships that you establish as their coach, and then as everybody gets older and things change. So I'm very thankful for the guys I got to work with on the sidelines, on the court, in the hallways, in the offices, and the people at University of Dallas. Very thankful. Thank you for the recognition. Thank you for putting up with my hillbilly voice for this long. Hopefully, I don't know what else. I don't know what other words to string together just to tell Coach and everyone, thank you. Okay?
Regretfully declined. Thank you for reaching out and inviting me. Some of my best years came from when I had the opportunity to play collegiate basketball and represent the Crusader Navy and White. And if you haven't read about her and your program, Kylie Yoshimura was the point guard for the University of Dallas women's basketball team from 2009-10 to 2012-13. And during that 4-year run, established herself as one of the best female basketball players in school history. Start with durability. She never missed a game and is tied for the most games in a season, 28, and in a career, 107. She holds the school record for assists in a game with 12 twice, the season record with 175, and the career record with 586, as well as the record for average assists per game, season, and career. Her 1,541 career points is second all-time, helped by a school record 189 three-point field goals. She led the 2009-10 team to a school record 15 wins and to the finals of the Northeastern Athletic Conference Tournament. She was selected as an All-American by the United States Collegiate Athletic Association in 2012 and 13. And I'll tell you, she was a very good player.